Hey now, Petey Grizz here. Today, I'm going to show you how to bias the Jim Dunlop model JDF2 Fuzz Face. This is the standard Germanium model, the big red one. I imagine this will also work on the smaller ones, but this one has a slightly different schematic than the other ones. So these instructions probably won't work with the Jimi Hendrix Fuzz Face. These trim pots are not in the same place on the circuit as typically on a Fuzz Face. This is a weird model. This came out in the 90s. This was like one of the earlier attempts at reissuing the Fuzz Face, and they kind of missed the mark a little bit. They overshot. They tried to make improvements when they should have just left it alone, and they learned that years later. But regardless of that, and regardless of what people say, these are great pedals that sound fantastic when they're biased properly. When a lot of them come out of the factory, they're either way over biased or severely under biased, or they're mismatched between Q1 and Q2. But if you can get the voltages right, I trust me, it'll sound good. So let me show you how to check the bias first. So what you're going to need is a battery in the circuit, and you're going to need a cable inserted in your input jack. Without a cable in your input jack, no voltage flows to the circuit because the ground is disconnected. So make sure you have a cable in your input jack, or you're going to be scratching your head. I do this all the time though. And keep in mind, my jacks are reversed for pedal board convenience, so that's why it looks like it's in the output. So I flippy flopped my input and output. So let's go. Here's how we're going to check it. Here's how I do it. On this little terminal, on this header strip here, the fourth pad from the left, there's these little pads. They're exposed. They're basically perfectly for testing. I put the negative probe on that. That is actually the positive from the battery, but because this is a positive ground pedal, we're going to use our negative probe on that. Otherwise, you can put the positive probe on it. You'll just see negative voltages. But the results are the same either way, just whether you want a minus sign in front of it or not. But if you want to see what the proper voltage is, this is actually what you want to do. So we go to the collector of Q1. I don't know if this video is good enough, but you see there's these three solder terminals here and these three here. These are the two transistors. Okay, I'm not taking the board out of circuit. If you can, the problem is the nut on the top of the switch is under the pad. You usually got to pull up the black, rubber stripping, on top where the smile is, and it's a pain in the butt. What I do is I take the rubber glue out of these holes, because the holes go through the board, so you can, stupid light, you can adjust the bias without taking it off. Like if they sent this in for warranty, they would just pull the glue out, and they wouldn't pull the board out. So, so I use a toothpick because you don't want to use metal, when you're picking at a board, like trying to get glue or something off of it. Don't use something metal, because if you slip, you'll scratch up or damage it. The toothpick won't hurt anything. It'll just break. That's why that's always the picking tool of choice on the circuit board. So anyway, we go to the collector of Q1, and what we want to see here is, anywhere from 0.5 to 0.7 volts. And mind you, this collector is connected to the base of Q2. So if you go to the base of Q2, you'll have the same voltage here or there. So if you want, you can just check the base of Q2 and it's the same thing. But I like going right to the source, because if there's a difference here, then maybe you got a problem in your circuit. So what you do is hold your probes right on here. Now, I'm a little low, and this, so I'm going to have to adjust, let me see if I get my hand where you can see it here. Yeah, this is difficult, huh? All right, I'm in the screwdriver. Here's the hole right here that goes to trim pot 2, which is for the collector of Q1. And I just turn this a little bit till I get it as close as I can. Oops, it bottomed out. Okay, that's okay. So I've got it just a hair under 0.5, and it's maxed out. And that's normal. So now we move on to the collector of Q2. Now this you want right at 4.5 volts, right about in the middle of the battery. And trim pot for this one is over here. Now this one is way high, so we're going to bring that down just a hair. And once we get to that 4.5 volts, We stop. Okay, I'm at 4.55. That's close enough. If you get like 4.4 or 4.6 and you're struggling, that's fine. These aren't exact things. You don't stress out if you can't land on the number. If you're OCD like me and you set the TV volume to exactly the same digits all the time, I get mad if the TV volume is not in an interval of 5. So I understand, but it really you'll drive yourself nuts trying to get these like dead on. But you just need to be close enough. So now we're at the point. Now we're right at 0.58 volts over here. So see what happened is these two controls are interactive. So by adjusting this, we got the extra few millivolts we needed out of that side. So now we're pretty much, we're spot on here. That's fantastic. Now, mind you that, biasing with your meter is fine and all that, but you got to plug it in and play it. If it doesn't sound good at these voltage, try it at a slightly higher, try it at like 5 or 6 voltage. Generally, Q1's always going to be around that 0.5, 6, 0.7 range at most. But Q2 you can play around with and try it at 3.5 volts, try it at 3 volts. You're not going to hurt anything, but you might find you like a sound at a certain spot, or you might find that some transistors respond to different biases better. It's really there's an open book. There's an endless amount of variations that can happen with these circuits because of their simplicity. It makes them endlessly complex. Anyway, thanks for watching. In a few days, I'll have up a sound demo of this stock, and then I'm going to keep up with the sound demos as I modify it increasingly. I'll start with a stage 1 and modify this board. Then I'll do a full gut and replace, and I'll take you along with me. Thanks for watching. Bam.